Canes fans, what's going on? Peter Rees here with a special edition live post game. Canes Hoops wins their season opener against NJIT tonight, trying to make this a regular thing. Can't promise that it's going to be every game. Of course, long basketball season circumstances arise, but I am a season ticket holder for the basketball team, and obviously watch pretty much every away game as well. So would love to start doing these live post game reaction shows. Just give my thoughts on what I saw out there, and of course answer questions. This was not a nationally televised game. You had to have ACC Network Plus, stream it on ESPN Plus, all that. If you did not, I'll give you my thoughts here in a moment. Again, Miami wins their season opener against NJIT 101-60. And this Friday, of course, unveiling the Final Four banner in their game against UCF. So hopefully that'll be a nice crowd out there. And that's really, I have some notes, just my observation from the game. And Canes, by the way, Canes Cats Heat 305. Appreciate the support. Showering the comments right now. I'll get to you in just a second. I agree with what you're saying about that depth. But right off the bat here, awesome crowd for a season opener against a team that you expected to be overmatched. And by the way, the spread for this game was about 24 and a half, 25 points. Miami was favored by. So the Canes with the easy cover here, 41-point victory. There was a point in that first half where they looked a little bit sluggish. I believe NJIT cut it to a 6-point lead. It was 26-20. Miami then quickly extended their lead to double digits, and they took off from there. But again, awesome crowd for a season opener. The student section deserves a lot of credit. Football-wise, student section, they catch a ton of heat. The turnout's not great. The transportation, I know, is tough for a lot of students. They have the option to get on the bus, but it's not the easiest situation for students to get over there. You talk about the on-campus arena, the atmosphere that has been built now over the last 10 years, really, as Coach Larrañaga has emphasized that early on. Right away when he came to Miami, was trying to connect with the students, and he's done a great job of that, obviously. But the student section tonight was awesome for a game against season opener. You would hope that they would have a great crowd with a Final Four returning team. But this, to me, shows that moving forward in these marquee matchups in the ACC games, it's going to turn into a tough place to play here in Coral Gables. Just looking at this team, right? Obviously, you return a lot with Norchad Omier, with Nigel Pack, with Wooga Poplar, who Wooga being a guy who led the team in scoring tonight. You can see his confidence definitely has taken that next step. Coach Larrañaga has constantly said this offseason that he's a player he believes will probably go right. So we don't expect to see him much after this year, but he just looks really confident shooting the ball from distance. Norchad Omier, his energy rate, his work rate, it's really something to see him play live, because he does not stop. His battery, he's like an Energizer bunny that does not stop. He grabs 10 rebounds tonight and really didn't get going in terms of rebounds until that second half, where I think he had 2 or 3 in the first half and really got it going there. Super efficient offensively, 8 for 11 from the field, hit 2 threes from the top of the key that were really, really, again, confident strokes. It's very, in games like this, it's easy to say, wow, that guy looks like a different player. But, and I'm not saying that Omier is going to be breaking Jack McClinton's 3-point shooting records or anything like that, but if he can develop that as a threat defensively, it's going to create a lot of problems for opposing fives, right? Because that's what Omir's going to be playing. Canes Cats Heat. Before I get to any more of my observations, I'll get to you. This depth, I 100% agree with that. The depth and the length, right? We don't have a traditional big man. Michael Nwoku is going to be awesome spelling Omir off the bench here, finishing around the rim, rebounding. You know, I'm not going to say he's Dikembe Mutombo as a shot blocker right away, but he provides a threat defensively as a shot blocker in there, and as someone who can affect the offensive players' finishing ability, right? So Nwoku gives you a really, really good athlete there. Eventually, I would expect against bigger teams, Nwoku and Omir to be featured in some defensive lineups there, and that could be very interesting to watch as the season progresses. But the length of this team, AJ Casey wearing number 23 this year, not wearing number 0, looks like he could be a big time player off the bench for this team. Keyshawn George, I expect his minutes to increase as the season goes on, and he's pretty much already the sixth man off the bench. But defensively, he's going to be really, really good right away. 6'8", his length is scary. His instincts are there already. The shot, if you've seen his stuff from France, he's a very natural shooter, really, really good shooter. But I think it might take him a few games to adjust and get settled in here at the college level as a shooter. But once he catches his rhythm, expect very, very good things for him. But again, the depth, the length here, Wooga Poplar, like we said, taking that next step. Chris Watson, number 3, played sparingly last season in his first year on campus, but looks like he's going to be a big player in the rotation this season. Defensively brings a lot of length. They were playing him defensively up against the point guard of the other team. So you have a lot of different bodies you can throw at people this year. Nigel Pack, everyone knows that he is a long distance shooter. Had some big games for Miami in their tournament run last season. But man, the way the ball was moving tonight, again, let's not overreact to what's happening tonight, right? This is Miami football playing a Bethune-Cookman. This is a team that you should handle with ease. But in terms of stylistically, you're not going to have an Isaiah Wong on this team who can bail you out at the end of the shot clock, who can, he can hit some shots that when the things aren't going well in the flow offensively can get you out of tough situations. Nigel Pack, I don't know if he's going to be that this year, but the way that the ball was moving, because he's going to be, as he was last year, was a point guard, but when the ball got in Isaiah Wong's hands, at times it stops there, for better or for worse, right? But with Pack, the way that he was really running the show tonight and being a true point guard more than just a guy who can jack it up from 3, he looks like someone to me who is going to take the next step in terms of national recognition and being more than just a 3-point shooter. As Aaron Andrews says here, Wooga will fill Isaiah's shoes and then some this year. Wooga looked, just looking at the stats here, what are his numbers? He was 8 for 16 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3, so better than 50%, 3 rebounds, an assist, a block. 50% from the field, better than 50% from 3. And really just the way that he elevates on those mid-range jump shots. He had some finishes near the rim as well that you can just tell it's easy for him out there, or at least he makes it look easy. And I don't know how I've gone almost 10 minutes into this show without mentioning Matthew Cleveland transfer from Florida State, making his debut tonight, his official debut as a Hurricane. And he has a double-double right off the bat, 16 and 10. I want to say he almost had that double-double in the first half, but he also had 2 blocks, 4 assists. You look at everyone trying to compare him to Jordan Miller. They're playing the same position on paper, different players. Cleveland might be a better athlete than Miller. Now, Miller was asked to be more of a facilitator in the offense, played a point forward role, was very crafty around the rim. But Matthew Cleveland has NBA, which Jordan Miller's there already, but has NBA upside potential when it comes to athletic ability, was all over the glass tonight, had a really good feel for where the ball was coming off the rim. Great. He's going to get a ton of easy buckets cutting to the basket this year. Omir did a great job finding him a few different times. AJ Casey found him on one occasion tonight as well, if I remember correctly. But Matthew Cleveland, man, really, really good understanding of the game as an off-ball offensive player. And then defensively, had a couple blocks tonight, just jumps out of the building. You could see he is probably, you put him next to Omir, it's going to be a very formidable interior for Miami. It's not your traditional 6'10, 6'11, 7-footers in there, but these guys can really move. They can switch off screens on the perimeter, and I'm excited about the defensive upside of this team with Bensley Joseph on the outside on the perimeter, not the biggest guy, 6'1", 6'2", but his length, his tenacity, really someone who, as a shooter, continues to get better. Him and Pack, not the biggest duo in the backcourt, but both bring really unique things to the table there. Listen, New King, I don't know if this is because he is a Florida State transfer, right? And obviously he beat Miami last year, but we got to embrace him now. You got to put that in the past. If it's something basketball wise, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk. But in what I saw right tonight, and knowing what this Miami team needs, I think he's a perfect fit for Coach Larinaga and this staff, because Coach L has always been someone who gets the most out of his guys. And Leonard Hamilton, love the guy. I think he's done a great job up there at Florida State. He's the reason Miami has their on-campus stadium, one of the reasons why. But I don't know if he's always maximized his players' abilities, right? He's gotten a ton of guys drafted. So, again, no slight to the guy. But if we're talking about college, Coach L with Matthew Cleveland, I think you're going to see some crazy numbers in the box scores this year from him. Really big impact player, and I think he has a good chance to get drafted as well. And he just confirmed that New King God said exactly the reason throwing down the U in game winner. Listen, he wasn't on our side yet. What can we say? But kid's a heck of a player, and from all accounts, good kid. I think we can respect he was on the other side of the rivalry and things get heated in those moments. So listen, hopefully he creates some good memories for us this season. That's something that we talk about, years from now, and we just laugh about. Excuse me. Only player I'm disappointed is Watson is expecting to be our 6-man maybe. Listen, long season, things can develop. He's gonna have a big role. I mean, he was probably let's see, let me look at this right here. Minutes wise, he played the 7th most minutes on the team. So 18 minutes. I know it was a game that there was a lot of rotation, but he's going to be heavily in the mix. I wouldn't call a disappointment, right? So But I'm excited about. I think Keyshawn George, if anything, that just shows how high they are on his upside and what he could really become. I think offensively, his upside is very, very high. We saw his size and his length tonight, but once he settles in, like I said, as a shooter, very capable, and then as someone who can run an offense and in transition be a guy that is really running the break after he catches a rebound and then gets down the floor. I think that's why his upside is so high. AJ Casey, again, I agree with you. New King God, you're getting featured a lot tonight. But yeah, look, the funny thing about that UConn game, right? They had Sanogo is really 6'7", 6'8", right? So Omir technically should have had the ability to match up with him. They had the other kid who was a 7-footer who could make plays as well. But Miami wasn't hitting shots in that game, right? But AJ Casey, I agree with you. I'm sitting there watching that game today. Like I told you guys, I was at the game, and Casey was one guy who really stood out in terms of length, height, looked like a legit 6'10" to me. And in the ACC, you're going to need bodies like that. You're going to get in foul trouble. And he's someone who, if an Omir catches a couple fouls early on, you may need him with a Michael Nwoku to play a bigger role in the interior. So AJ Casey, someone I'm looking to really take that next step this year. I know they're excited about him. Wayne, this is a basketball show, man. We're not talking. I know I have the Green Tree background, but we'll have a podcast. Me and D Money will be recording one, I believe, tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Tough times, but I still believe in Mario and his plan long term. Couple more minutes here before we wrap it up. Again, just wanted to give my final recap thoughts here. I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to get to tonight. Bensley Joseph, I think I should maybe give him a little bit more of a shout out, but defensively awesome player and plays a lot bigger than his listed height. As a shooter, has been really, really efficient from the 3-point line. I think he's someone that Coach L and the staff trust a lot, and down the stretch of games will play a lot. So it's going to take a lot for one of these young freshmen in terms of a Keyshawn George or maybe even an AJ Casey as a bigger guy down low to supplant him. But you're going to see a lot of this 4-guard lineup with Nigel Pack, Bensley Joseph, Wooga Poplar. I guess Cleveland, he's not really playing as a guard, but you're going to play 4 out. And then, of course, Norchad Omir in the middle. So, Ben Pfeiffer here, what kind of crowd are you expecting Friday as the Canes host UCF? Been a really solid program as of late, and of course the Canes unveiling the Final Four banners. I would expect a solid little. I mean, listen, tonight was a really nice opening crowd. If we get a little bit, 1,000 more than tonight, then it would be. I think it would be a really good showing on a Friday night in Miami. So should be a fun one for sure. But Coach L gets another opening night win in Coral Gables. And I'm excited to do these live shows, these recap shows as the season progresses. Appreciate everyone who was on tonight. Appreciate everyone who hopped on tonight. And we'll do these moving forward. So go Canes. Go out and support this program. This basketball program is best ticket in town. I say it every year. It's so easy to park. It's so easy to get into the arena. And, this team deserves nothing but the support from everyone here in the South Florida community. If you can make it out to a game, it's definitely worthwhile. Go Canes. Appreciate everyone for hopping on tonight.